Hello, Kimera Hashiv and you. It's Mr. Joseph getting ready for my Gaelic exam on Friday. And here today we're going to be talking about likes and dislikes. So you have, as you can see, Satolam and Chatolam. Okay, so this, of course, is an abbreviation. In full, it would look like this, but in reality, it's usually like this with a little apostrophe facing the other way. Okay, Stolem and Hatolem. Okay, so this question here is a fast one, and you can see it has something that looks the same as this Tolem, but this is Tollet. So this is actually asking about you. So you might recognize this as well because it looks similar to what the future tense was like in yesterday's uh, YouTube clip. It means to be. So literally, this question is saying, um, what do you like to be making for hobbies and pastimes? Okay. Je stolet avi a jinnov mar hur shachets. There's a word you don't want to try and say when you're having your dinner. Right, and next here you can see more questions, and I've written some little answers here at the side as well, just to give you some kind of an idea, all right, as to the kind of things that come up. Okay, so this here is when. Okay, very confusing, but I'm just going to check on the exact pronunciation, and it's kun, kun. Kunjes to let avi ag ihe. Okay, so when the T tells me it's a you question, so when do you like to be eating? You've seen this before from other clips, I'm sure. Okay, these are when questions. Kunjes to let avi kosher. When do you like to be walking? This year, if I remember correctly, is singing. When do you like to be reading? Again, another question. We'll come to those in a minute, okay? But let's just focus on these first ones, okay? So the question just told let avi a of mar hur shachet. Okay, your hobbies and pastimes. So the answer is going to be, of course, istalium. We covered that at the top. So it's abbreviated to stolum. So I like to be a making, I like to be a walking, I like to be a doing. That's a standard answer for most of these. Yeah. And you can see here the answers are more or less the same. It only changes when it comes to the actual verb. Okay, so when do you like to do something? So, for example, um, istolium is stolum is the best way to remember this, not istolium, stolum, the little thing there. Stolum ag ichi, fesker, I like eating in the evening. So this is always going to have this extra bit. I like to be eating in the evening. Okay. Stolum a bhí a cóiseach ans a bhatain. I like walking in the morning. Okay, so you can see the answers here. Stolam a bhí ag iche fescar, or you also could say chatolam. Okay, again here, we'll just change this to the S. Okay, and put the apostrophe before it. There we are. It's facing the wrong way, the apostrophe, but wow, it'll take me too long to fix it. Right. Um, Here we are. Okay, so for this next question, which is Cache and Toilet Avi. Okay, so this is where. Cache and Toilet Avi. Um, Imagine this is singing, but I'll choose an easier one that you might remember. Cache and Toilet Avi Akober. Where do you like to work? Okay. Is Toilet Avi Akober Agentai? I like to work at home. Is Toilet Avi um, Akoshek? Change that to Ober. Is Toilet Avi Akober Ansafark, for example. Yeah. So you can see there that the answers are fairly similar. Yeah, it's just remembering to add in this part, V, and then also putting in the verb. Okay. Now, yesterday we went over a lot of ambi questions. Ambi u ag ihe ahulala. Okay, so what do you eat every day? So the answer, just like the same as we went over yesterday, bimi ag ihe ahulala, and then you can expand that a little bit to say, for example, uh, stolum arin le im, bread with butter, for example. Okay, but of course, ibimi is in the future. Okay, so ambi questions are going to be the same as yesterday. Yeah, and then you go on to give you a little bit about stolum. Okay. They get a bit more complicated with things like kacha ambi u ag ihe. Yeah, so um, where um, do you like to, it's not where do you like to eat, but basically it's saying where will you eat every day? Okay, and again, your answer there is going to be with abimi, and then you can go on to talk about what it is that you like or don't like. So the answers here with the B are kind of the same. So you'd have to answer with the B and then go on to talk about Stalin. Yeah. So remember, the golden rule here is if there's a B in the question, then you should answer with a B in the answer. Right, there's loads of these, but those are the main ones. And to be honest with you, it's quite frightening looking at this because I'm not sure I'm going to remember all of this. So let's try some of these just to practice. Okay. So we've done some of these already, but let's just focus on this one because it's the one that stands out most, and we've spoken about it already. So Kachin tolet avi ag ihe. Stolum abi ag ihe anantai. Stolam avi agethe agentai. I like eating at home. I got that right without looking good. Okay. Here's another one. Kachin tolet avi akoshak. Okay, so the answer is going to be Stolam avi akoshak. Uh, uh, Anantraj in the street, for example. Yeah. Um, if she asks me this one, uh, Gistolet vi genov mar hur uh, shachet, I could say stolum um, stolum avi uh, istucht arish radio. I like listening to the radio, for example. Yeah. And then she's going to ask me, for example, what do I listen to on the radio? Which is going to be something like, Gestolet avi istjech an an radio. So I'm going to come back and say, Stolum istjech radio nagel. Of course, I'd have to have the other bit in there, which is avi. Stolum avi istjech radio nagel, for example. Yeah, so, and she's probably going to ask that because I know that she was um, trying to work out what our hobbies were, presumably because she wants to ask us that in the exam. I don't know, but she was kind of wanting answers from us. So she's probably going to ask about these things. So this is very important. These ones are easier because it's what we went over yesterday. The answer is going to be a B construction, then a stolium. But if she's going to ask me this, uh, stolita V, a genov mar shachet, you can hear there that my little problem was forgetting to put this path in. And it's really important because it's the verb to be, and you need that before the other verb. I like to be making XYZ thing. I like to be listening to XYZ thing. I like to be doing XYZ thing. So the correct construction is always going to be this. Setolum avi ag iche vesker. And then you can add in the bits you want. Setolum avi, let's just say agischach. Rish radio or radio nagale. I'll need to check out that last bit, that Rish construction, but agischach is how you would talk about listening. It's not as bad as it looks because it's really only these ones which create that direct response of Setolum. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, or did I? You can add in, for emphasis, this. Yeah. And there's also the idea, okay, that you can talk about other people. And you do that by using tolum, tole, tolish, tola, tolin, toliv, and one that looks like Leoa, but I don't know how to use all of these. So again, I'm a little bit in the dark. I'd prefer to avoid them if I possibly could. And they also have their emphasizers. Okay. If you're talking about other people. Um, for example, you could say in full, um, "Estou le to Vahar," for example. I suppose. Um, yeah, but I'm going to need to practice these more. I can see that I don't feel very fluent with them. So to ask the question, for example, when do you like to be eating? I can say in the morning, in the afternoon. Stolum avi. See, I've missed out a little bit there. Let me say that again. Stolum avi agiche um uh matin. Okay, I like to eat in the morning. Um Catcha and toilet avi a koshek. It's always going to be this. Stolum Stolum avi a koshek uh and in Biantan in the mountains. Okay, so that's a little introduction, and just again looking further down here, if she was to ask any of these, it would trigger a response of something with B that we went over yesterday. So, ambiuak ober ahulala, will you work every day? And of course, because it's an ambi question, the first thing that you say is yes. So in this case, it's going to be be, as we discussed yesterday. Apparently, in standard Gaelic, these days, people often just say be, but in formal Gaelic, it's be. Okay, so be. And then you would do your thing. Be me ak ober ahulala. I will work every day. So there we are, right? Hopefully that's not been too confusing. Oh, rough, isn't it? Well, we can carry on going over this in the next few days because obviously it's a little bit hard. Okay, that's it. Have a wonderful day, folks. See you. Bye.